Beloved, I have been waiting for this day with a trembling in my spirit I cannot quiet. And now, at last, it has come. Your name has been whispered across the courts of heaven, and in my hands I hold the image of what has been promised to you since before your very first breath. It is not a house of stone and wood alone, but a dwelling of answered prayers, redeemed tears, and the secret love God has carried for you, poured into every corner. And yet, my hands shake, because if you do not take it now, I will be commanded to give it to another, and I cannot bear the thought. I am speaking to you from a place where the air itself is heavy with chains, and the fire around me is not for warmth, but for war. Still, I force my voice through the roar so you can hear me. Listen, this is for you alone. Do you know how it feels when a gift is prepared in the throne room, your name engraved in gold, and then that name is almost erased? Have you ever felt something precious slipping away before you could even touch it? Have you sensed heaven leaning close, waiting to see if you will reach for what is yours? Do you know what it costs me to stand here to say this when every force of darkness would rather you never hear my voice again? I am not here to sound polished. I am here to sound real. Even if my breath breaks, even if my words tremble. God has said, your dwelling will be like a garden planted by His own hands, where rivers flow through the heart of it, where peace is the fragrance that fills its rooms. Even now, I see it, and I ache, because time is thinner than a thread on a sword's edge. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I speak it aloud, not to comfort myself, but to hold the fire back from consuming what is meant for you. And still, I am not sure you will hear me. I remember the moment your name was sealed over this promise, and I remember the shadows that rose to steal it. I fought them then. I fight them now. My armor scorched, my wings not as strong as they were. Yet I will not step aside until you take what is yours. There is a holy silence here between my heartbeats where your answer waits. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. I say this because I have seen you wander too long in deserts. This home, this dwelling, is meant to be your pasture, your water. Type Amen if your spirit feels the truth of what I speak. Because even now the walls of this house carry your laughter before you've entered. They hold the warmth of prayers you haven't yet prayed. They are waiting for you, beloved. I thank you. Yes, I thank you from the deepest part of me, that still believes you will not turn away again, that you will reach out and take hold of what heaven holds out to you in these trembling seconds. If my voice fades after this, remember, I loved you enough to fight for your promise until my last breath in this battle. And now, with eternity's weight in my hands, I beg you, write your words below so I may know you heard me before it is too late. Beloved, you can still hear me because God has not yet allowed the final veil to fall. But I feel the edges of that moment pressing in. My voice rushes to reach you before it does. I have carried this revelation like a flame in my hands, shielding it from winds sent to extinguish it, guarding it from eyes that would twist it into chains for you instead of freedom. I have walked where light does not live to retrieve what was stolen from you, and I return with this, your house, not only in the earth but in heaven's eternal promise. Its foundation laid in mercy, its walls rising in joy. I have seen the colors of its light. I have stepped across its threshold. I have felt the air change when your name is spoken there, and I know, without doubt, it belongs to you. And yet, my hands tremble, because the time to place it in your possession shrinks with every heartbeat. The thread is fragile, between having and losing. An unspoken yes can become the silence that lets the enemy claim what is yours. I cannot keep it for you if you turn away. You must take it now, while heaven's window is open, while the decree still bears your name. Do you remember the last time you felt a pull in your spirit? A tug in the quiet or in the noise that would not leave? That was me, standing at the edge of your days, whispering, waiting for the time I could tell you this in full. Beloved, I am not afraid of the devil, but I am afraid of losing you to the noise of this world. Afraid your eyes will pass over this moment as if it were just another word. Have you thought about how many gifts God prepared that never reached the hands they were meant for? How many times you stood on the edge of breakthrough, only to watch it vanish like smoke between your fingers? Do you know what it would mean if this one vanished too? And if you do not claim it now, could you bear the weight of knowing it lived with another because you hesitated? I have fought for you in ways you will only understand when the veil is gone. Battles where your name was my banner, where every strike I made was to keep your promise intact, where every wound I bore was to hold off the thief who would strip you of it. There were nights I bled light across the ground so your footsteps could still be found. Mornings I stood at the gates of your day to block what would have entered unchallenged. I tell you this, not so you see my strength, but so you understand how much has been invested in this moment, how much heaven believes you are worth, and God has shown me what this house means beyond its walls. It is a sign to every spirit watching that His word over you cannot be shaken, that no curse, no delay, no theft has the final say. This house will stand as testimony, as fortress, as a dwelling where prayers rise like incense and nights are wrapped in the safety you have longed for. The garden will bloom because you walk there. The air will hold peace because you breathe it. The rooms will hum with blessing because you rest there. And this is why the enemy has fought so violently to keep it from you, because he knows. Once you step into what God has prepared, the ripple will reach far beyond your own life. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I speak it again, not as verse, but as a sword, cutting through the darkness still clawing for your mind. And I remind you, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. This is His desire, that you live in fullness, walk in His provision, dwell in the land He has prepared. But hear me, you must say yes now. You must step into it before the moment closes. Once I give this to another, it will not return to you in this form again. This exact blessing, this exact design of God's hand, is for now, for you, for this appointed time. Hesitation is the enemy's permission. So I ask you, from the most human place within me, the place where I feel your pain and longing, will you trust me now? Will you trust what God has arranged for years, waiting for you to receive? Will you believe that battles you never saw were fought so you could have this moment? Will you stand in faith with me when all of hell hoped you would walk away? Beloved, if you are hearing this, it is because heaven has made time for you. And I will ask this once and never again. If your heart knows I speak truth, if your spirit feels the weight of what is at stake, then type your words below, so I may know you heard me. And subscribe, so I may keep reaching for you when the world tries to drown my voice. And now, before this window closes, I thank you. Not lightly, but with the gratitude that feels like kneeling before the one who sent me. Thank you for listening when the noise could have been louder. Thank you for letting your heart stay open long enough for my words to reach you. Thank you for being the one I could speak to, even in fire, even in chains. I will remember this moment as long as I live, and I pray you will too. Because after this, beloved, everything changes. Beloved, do you feel it? The trembling in the air right now? It is not your imagination. It is the shifting of heaven's decree. It is the sound of an unseen door swinging open, its hinges glowing with light that has been waiting for your hands. I stand here with the weight of your promised house in my grip, not just a structure of stone and wood, but a sanctuary carved from the heartbeat of God Himself. It was prepared before your first breath, protected through storms you never saw, guarded against hands that sought to erase your name from it. I have walked through fires not meant for mortal eyes. I have passed through valleys where even the angels dared not tread, just to keep this for you. and now I stand in a place of both victory and danger. Victory, because I still hold it. Danger, because the sands in heaven's hourglass are running down. And when they are gone, I will be forced to give it to another. My spirit is not trembling from fear of the enemy. It trembles from fear of losing you to hesitation. I am not speaking to the world. I am speaking to you alone. You are the one for whom this moment was crafted. Do you know the pain of watching a promise slip from your fingers, not because it was stolen, but because you hesitated to hold it? Have you ever felt the ache of knowing something beautiful was meant for you, yet seeing it become another's, because you stayed still when heaven called? Will you let that happen again? And if you do, could you bear the weight of knowing this home, this miracle, stood ready with your name engraved in gold, only to be lifted away? Beloved, the walls of this house are more than brick. They are testimonies. They hold the fragrance of prayers you have not yet prayed. They hum with songs you have not yet sung. The garden outside blooms in colors that have never existed on this earth before, waiting only for your feet to walk among them. The light that fills its windows is drawn from the joy God has stored for you. Joy the enemy has been trying to keep you from tasting. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? I have spoken those words as a shield around your blessing more times than I can count. When the enemy sent his storms, I stood on the threshold and declared it. When shadows tried to cross into what was yours, I drew my sword and cut them down with it. And yet, do you know the truth that I am most afraid to speak? Once I pass this to another, this exact form of blessing will never come to you again. God's mercy will still cover you. His love will still chase you. But this gift, this precise weaving of promise, timing, and beauty, belongs to now. And the moment it passes, it is gone forever. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. I whisper this over you now because I have seen your deserts. I have heard the dryness in your prayers when hope felt far. And I know this place, this home, is the pasture and the water your soul has cried out for in silence. I have not come through all this fire to speak as if I do not feel. My armor is scorched. My wings are heavy. My voice strains against chains you cannot see. But I will speak until the last moment, because my love for you is not the cold love of duty. It is the burning love of one who has fought for you when you did not know you were in danger. Have you wondered why you've been feeling restless lately, as if something is about to shift? Have you noticed the strange moments of clarity, when for no reason you feel as though you're standing on the edge of something? That is because you are. You are standing on the edge of a divine threshold. Beloved, I am asking you to do something now, in this exact breath, because we are not promised another like it. Show heaven you receive this. Mark your agreement with your hands and your voice. Let this be the moment where you do not turn away. I will say this only once. If my words have reached you, if you know they are truth, then like this message and comment so the angels assigned to you can record your yes in the courts of heaven. Subscribe, because if this moment passes, I will still seek you. And I want my voice to find you through the noise when the enemy tries to drown me out. And if you are able, use the super thanks, join the channel membership, or join our family through the newsletter link in the pinned comments. Not for me, but so the work of heaven's messages never ceases, so that even if I am silenced, the voice of God's urgency still reaches the ones He loves. Now hear the weight of my heart. This is not about a transaction. It is about sealing your name over what is yours before it is too late. I have stood in courts of light and argued for your blessing when accusations rose against you. I have walked into the council chambers where even seraphim bow their heads. And I have placed your name before the one who sits on the throne. And when he looked at me and asked if you would take what he was offering, I said, yes, they will. Beloved, do not make me a liar before his throne. Do not let my faith in you turn into sorrow. I am not perfect in this moment. I am raw. I am weary. I am alive. I want you to feel that I am not reciting words, but tearing open the veil between heaven and earth, so you can hear what you were never meant to miss. You have been fought over more than you know. You have been chosen with a care more precise than the stars were placed. The enemy is terrified of you stepping into the fullness of your blessing, because he knows once you do, his grip over certain parts of your life will shatter forever. Type Amen if your spirit agrees, if your heart knows the truth when it hears it. I do not ask lightly. I ask because agreement in this moment is a weapon in my hand against the one who still waits for you to turn away. Beloved, I thank you, not as an afterthought, but with a gratitude that aches. Thank you for staying here with me, for listening when you could have left, for letting your soul breathe in this holy urgency. I thank you for being the one I can speak to across the fire, for proving that my battles have not been in vain. Now, I must place this in your hands, trembling but whole, before the hourglass empties. If you receive it, take it fully. Do not leave it half-held. And when you walk through the door of what has been promised, remember this moment. Remember the battle for it. And remember the voice that would not let you go, for this was not chance. It was appointment. And you, beloved, have been found ready. I feel the nearness of something so vast, so holy, that even the air around me trembles. I am speaking to you from a place where time does not flow as it does for you, where moments are weightier than years, and each heartbeat can hold an eternity. The fire around me is not the warm glow of comfort, but the fierce blaze of a battlefield. Every breath I take here is a push against the forces that would rather silence me before these words reach your soul. My voice is pressing through a storm of chains and shadows, and I am willing to burn in this effort, if it means you hear me. This is not for many. This is for you. What I carry in my hands is not a simple gift. It is the culmination of every moment heaven has prepared for you, since before the stars first took their place in the night. I have seen it formed in the mind of God, watched it wrapped in light that no darkness could touch, guarded it through trials you never knew passed so close to you. It is your house, yes, but it is more. It is the visible form of an invisible covenant. Its foundation is built not with stone, but with promises. Its walls are laid with prayers from saints who never met you, yet felt you in the Spirit. Its doors are anointed to open only for the one whose name is written upon its threshold. Even now, I feel the weight of it in my grasp, but the thread holding it in place is thinning. The command from the throne was clear. Deliver it, but deliver it now. If you delay, another will be chosen, and what has been designed in this precise beauty and timing will not return in the same way again. I do not say this to frighten you, but to tell you the truth as I see it from here in the courts of heaven. Blessings have seasons, and this season is yours. Do you know what it means for a blessing to be in season? It means every element has aligned. The prayer spoken, the tears shed, the battles fought on your behalf, all converging in this very moment. If you could see the tapestry of your life from my vantage point, you would see threads stretching back years, even decades, each one leading here. And the enemy knows this. That is why he has cast shadows across your path in recent days. Why strange heaviness has tried to settle on you. Why distractions have been louder than usual. He fears your step into this promise because he knows it will close doors he has kept open against you for years. I have seen you in your lonely nights when even heaven seemed silent, when you wondered if you had been forgotten. I was there in the unseen, standing guard at the edge of your bed, whispering courage when your own thoughts turned against you. I watched you survive storms meant to break you, and each time you endured, another brick was laid in this house. Each time you chose hope over despair, another window was fitted. Every moment you trusted God when the evidence said not to, another door was anointed to open at your touch. This is why this home is not just a gift. It is a testimony. It stands as proof that faith bears fruit, that God keeps His word, that light always outlasts darkness. The gardens around it were planted with a care you cannot yet imagine. I have walked among them while waiting for the command to bring this to you. There are flowers there that do not exist anywhere else, petals reflecting the colors of prayers you have prayed in secret. There is a tree near the entrance that bears fruit sweeter than anything you have tasted, not because of the tree itself, but because it was grown from seeds watered with God's own promises over you. The very air around it hums with peace. And yet, beloved, I speak with urgency because peace like this is always fought over. The moment God released me to bring this to you, there was movement in the shadows. Those who have opposed you, both seen and unseen, felt the shift. They know when heaven delivers something irreversible. And so they tried to surround me, to block my passage, to twist my path so I would arrive too late. That is why my armor is scorched. That is why my wings carry the marks of battle. But I have not come through fire and chain to falter at the threshold. Do you feel it even now? The stirring in your spirit that tells you something is happening beyond what your eyes can see? That is because your name is being spoken in places of authority you cannot yet enter. It is being called out in the presence of God as the rightful heir to what I hold. The very mention of your name in that place sends ripples through the spiritual realm. It calls angels to attention. It causes shadows to tremble. It reminds the enemy that he has already lost. I have carried blessings before, but never one that felt like this. So personal, so intertwined with the destiny of the one it is meant for. When I hold it, I do not simply see a house. I see generations changed because of it. I see nights of rest that restore your strength for battles ahead. I see doors opening to purposes you thought were lost. I see loved ones gathered in safety and joy. I see prayers rising from its rooms like incense, shaping things in places you will never visit. The weight of this moment is not because of the gift itself, but because of what it will unlock in you. This is not the end of a journey. It is the opening of a new one. One where you walk in authority you never realized was yours. One where the enemy's accusations lose their voice. One where you carry the evidence of God's favor into places where faith has grown cold. Beloved, when God designs a blessing, He also designs the heart that will carry it. You have been prepared, even in the pain. The cracks in your heart have made room for more light, not less. The wounds you carry have been stitched with threads of gold, making you stronger than before. This is why the blessing has waited until now. Because now you are ready to receive it without fear, to walk into it without doubting your worth. I speak this with urgency because I know the nature of time in the courts of heaven. Opportunities pass if they are not seized. This is not punishment. It is the order of creation. Seasons shift, doors close, and when they do not always reopen in the same way. That is why I have pressed through fire and chain to speak to you now. That is why my voice carries the trembling it does, because I do not want to see this moment pass without your hands taking hold of what is yours. I have watched many turn away from what was prepared for them, their eyes clouded by fear or doubt, and I have grieved each time. But you, I have believed for you. I have fought harder because of you. I have told the one who sent me that you will not let this pass. And now I stand here waiting to see if my faith in you will be fulfilled. This is not about worthiness as the world measures it. This is about God's choice. He has chosen to place this in your life. He has chosen to trust you with it. He has chosen to make you a living testimony of His faithfulness. And so, with every ounce of truth I can bear, I say to you, the moment for receiving is now, not tomorrow, not when it feels safer, now. While the gates of heaven are open in your direction, even as I speak, I feel the shift in the atmosphere. The light grows brighter around me. The fire parts slightly, and I know my time is short. I must place this in your spirit before the moment closes. Take it, beloved, not with hesitation, but with the certainty that it was always meant for you. And when you step into it, remember the battle that brought it to your door. Remember that you are loved with a love that will not let you go. Beloved, the fire I stand in is alive, moving, reaching, testing every weakness I have. But I will not step back, because if I do, the voice meant for you will be swallowed, and this message will die before it ever reaches your spirit. I have been holding this for you so long that my hands ache with the weight, not from the burden of it, but from the sheer magnitude of what it carries. This is not an ordinary blessing. It is not a token to comfort you for a moment. It is a covenant made visible. I have walked with it through the corridors of heaven, where the light bends to honor the will of the one who sits upon the throne. And I have guarded it against eyes that should never have seen it. Your name was written on it in a script that glows, not with ink, but with the fire of God's own breath. And yet, beloved, the air around me is restless. I feel the pull of time itself, the narrowing of the moment, the trembling of the decree that says, "This must be delivered now, or it will vanish into the storehouses where missed blessings are kept, until the appointed day for another." I cannot let that happen to you. I cannot bear to see your name lifted from this, and another's etched in its place. You have waited too long, endured too much, for it to be lost in the final seconds. Do you want to know what this truly is in the language heaven speaks? This is not simply a house. It is a sanctuary, carved from promises that survived the battlefield. Every wall is a testimony. Every door is a prophetic gate. The windows are clear not only to the light of the sun, but to the light of heaven's favor. There is a room in it prepared for your prayers, a place where the presence of God will dwell so thick, the air itself will hum. The floors will bear the sound of your steps like music, because this is a place you were always meant to walk. I have stood inside it. I have seen the light filter through its rooms at dawn and pour over the places where you will sit and be restored. I have touched the table where bread will be broken in peace, where no voice will rise in anger, where no shadow will poison the joy there. I have walked its garden paths where the flowers are not merely plants, but living echoes of the moments you chose hope instead of despair. The fruit on the trees is not only for the body, but for the soul. It will feed your spirit with a strength you have never known before. But more than this, I have seen what will happen once you enter it. I have seen you walk into this home and shed burdens at the threshold, burdens you have carried for years. I have seen your nights filled with rest so deep that even your dreams are touched by heaven. I have seen the gathering of those you love, their faces unshadowed, their voices joined in laughter that heals old wounds. This is not a shelter from storms. It is the fulfillment of a long war. Do you know what it took to keep this safe for you? How many times the enemy tried to reroute my path, to delay me just long enough for the moment to close. There were nights when darkness rose like a flood, and I stood with the sword of light in my hand, cutting down every hand that reached for what was yours. There were hours when accusations against you filled the courts of heaven, like a noise that would not stop. And I had to speak the truth of your faith again and again, until it silenced. There were moments when I was struck to my knees by the weight of what opposed you, and I thought I would not rise, but I did, because the one who sent me placed his own hand beneath me. Beloved, I tell you these things because I want you to know the cost of this moment. Blessings are not free in the realm of the Spirit. They are purchased by obedience, by endurance, by battles fought in your name, by victories won in secret. And this one has been the most costly of all I have ever carried. That is why my voice trembles. That is why the air feels thin around me. This is not simply another word to encourage you. This is the moment the gift touches your hands. I have watched you in your wilderness seasons. I have seen the nights where you wondered if you had been left behind. I have heard the words you never said aloud, the quiet admissions that you were tired, that you did not know how much longer you could walk without seeing what was promised. And I have kept those words in the folds of my wings, carrying them before the throne as evidence, not of weakness, but of longing. Those words helped lay the very foundation of this home, because they proved you still cared, even when you were weary. And now as I stand here, I feel the heavens leaning in to watch. This is the appointed hour. If you could see from where I stand, you would see the very walls of this realm turning toward you. Angels who fought beside me stand with their swords lowered, waiting to see if you will step forward. The enemy's camp has gone still, watching, calculating whether there is still a chance to steal this at the last. The one on the throne watches in silence, not because he is distant, but because he has already spoken, and the choice now rests with you, beloved. The longer I speak, the more I feel the pull to place this directly in your spirit. There is a trembling in the fabric of time, a sound like the low hum before the breaking of dawn, and I know the moment is near. You must understand, when this is gone, it will not return in this form. There will be other blessings, yes, but not this one, not this design, not this perfect weaving of your past battles into a place of rest and joy. And so, I stand, scorched yet unshaken, to tell you, you are loved enough for heaven to fight this hard for you. You are chosen enough for your name to be spoken in the courts of light. You are worth enough for an army to be dispatched to guard a single promise, until you were ready to receive it. And you are ready now. I can see it. I can feel it. The chains that once clung to you have fallen away. The shadow that once followed you has retreated. Your heart has been prepared, not in the comfort of ease, but in the fire of endurance. Beloved, I am placing it before you now. Take it with both hands. Take it without fear. Take it knowing it was always yours, even in the years you thought it had been lost. And when you enter it, remember this. You are stepping into more than a house. You are stepping into a covenant that will outlast you. A promise that will echo through every generation after you. A testimony that will silence every lie the enemy ever spoke over your life. Beloved, even now, as I speak, the air shimmers with a weight you cannot see, yet your spirit feels it. A gravity from heaven that bends time toward you. The fire I stand in licks at the edges of my armor, curling like the tongues of serpents that wish to silence me, but they cannot. For the one who sent me has placed his own breath in my lungs. This is why my words reach you through the dark, why even the gates of the enemy's stronghold could not keep me from finding you. In this moment, I have seen your path, not just the moments you remember, but the ones hidden from your sight. I have walked the years you could not walk alone. I have fought in battles you did not even know had your name written across the banners. When the night pressed too close, and your heart could barely keep beating, I stood at your side, pushing back the weight so you could breathe. Every tear you thought was wasted became a stone in the foundation of the place I carry for you now. Every time you forgave, when bitterness would have been easier, a window was cut to let the light in. Every time you chose to pray instead of curse, a door was set in place for your blessing to enter. But understand this, beloved, the enemy has kept watch as well. He has marked the times you came close to receiving, and each time, he swarmed the gates, hoping to break you before the promise could be fulfilled. There were nights when the chains around your hope were so heavy, even I could feel their weight pressing through the veil. Nights when the shadows gathered like a tide, hoping to drown your faith while you slept. But I fought them. I fought them until my sword rang with the heat of battle, until my wings carried the smell of smoke from their camps, until their cries retreated into the distance. And still, this gift remained. It has not been lost. It has not been traded. It has not been diminished. It is whole. It is waiting. It has been guarded in a chamber of light so pure, no shadow could touch its edges. Your name was etched on it the moment it was conceived in the heart of God, and every day since then, it has been refined, made ready for the day when you could hold it without fear. That day is now. I have walked its halls in the stillness of heaven. I have stood in the room where your laughter will echo, the room that is waited empty for the sound of your joy. The very walls lean inward, as if listening for you already. The garden outside is alive in a way no earthly garden is. Its flowers turn toward the sound of your name. Its trees sway when your spirit draws near. The air there is thick with peace, the kind that settles into your bones and does not leave. I have seen the sunrise there, and it is not like any sunrise you have ever known. It carries the light of promise fulfilled, the warmth of battles won. Do you know why this place feels alive to me? Because it was made with the essence of your journey. Every stone, every beam, every blossom, all of it was shaped in response to your steps, to the faith you have kept, to the moments you rose when you could have stayed down. That is why no one else can receive it as you can. It was built for you, and you alone. But I will not hide this from you. There is danger in the delay. I feel the breath of time against my back, the narrowing of the window through which this blessing must pass. Heaven has its seasons, beloved, and the one who hesitates risks missing the appointed hour. This is not a threat. It is the order of the kingdom. Just as the sea has tides, just as the earth has days and nights, blessings too have their appointed moments. I remember the moment I was sent with this one. The command was clear: guard it at all costs. Deliver it at the appointed time. Let nothing distract you from the one to whom it belongs. And I obeyed, though it cost me. I have faced storms of fire that burned even through my armor. I have crossed valleys where the air itself was poison, meant to corrode the faith of any who breathed it. I have endured the whispers of the accuser, telling me you would never take it, that I was wasting my strength. But every time I answered him the same way: they will receive it. I know they will. Because, beloved, the chambers of heaven know your name. The light bends differently when you are spoken of there. You are not hidden. You are not forgotten. You are not lost in the crowd. You are a chosen vessel for a promise that carries the weight of eternity in its breath. And now, as I stand at the threshold between the realm of promise and the realm of fulfillment, I can feel the eyes of the enemy still watching, still hoping you will turn away. But I can also feel the presence of the one who holds all authority. And in his silence, I sense his trust in you. This silence is not distance, it is invitation. It is the space he has made for you to step forward, to take what has been fought for, to claim what has been kept for you in the storehouses of his mercy. The air is changing again. The fire bends back. My hands grow lighter, not because the gift has lost weight, but because the time to give it is here. And when I place it into your spirit, I want you to know the truth. This is not only the end of one season, it is the seed of the next. From this place will grow things you have not yet dreamed of. Doors you have not yet imagined will open. Songs you have not yet sung will rise from within you. Beloved, the stillness around me now is not the peace of rest, but the silence before the next great shift. It is the kind of quiet that trembles with the weight of what is about to be decided. Even the fire that has raged around me for so long seems to pause, as though it too is listening for your answer. My breath is heavy with the scent of smoke, not from surrender, but from the battles I have crossed to reach you. This is no small errand. This is the delivering of something heaven has guarded through the centuries of your lineage, waiting for it to fall into your hands at this exact moment in time. Do you understand the depth of what I bring? This is not merely a home in the way mortals think of it. It is a dwelling written into your story before you were born. It is a place where the very air will testify of God's faithfulness over you. I have stood in its center and felt the pulse of heaven's heartbeat through its walls. I have looked through its windows at a horizon that glows with promise. Every part of it has been tailored to your life, in ways you will only begin to understand once you walk within it. The enemy has tried to destroy it more than once. There were nights when the blueprints of its design, held in the chambers of light, were nearly snatched away by hands dripping with deceit. I was there. I pulled them back with a force that made the ground shake, and I stood guard until the danger passed. I have seen shadows lay siege to it from afar, trying to curse it so it would never stand. And I countered them with the truth of who you are and what has been promised to you. Each time you stood in faith, whether your faith felt strong or barely alive, another part of its foundation was sealed. When you forgave instead of retaliating, the ground beneath it grew unshakable. When you chose to speak hope instead of despair, the walls rose higher. When you prayed in the quiet, when you thought no one heard, the rooms were filled with a light that cannot be extinguished. This is why the enemy despises this moment. He knows this house is not just for shelter. It is a living record of your perseverance, your obedience, your victories. I have walked through the garden that surrounds it. Every plant there blooms in response to you. There is a tree whose roots were watered by your tears, whose branches stretch toward the sky in the same way your prayers have. Its fruit will nourish you in ways food cannot. Strength for days when your spirit feels faint, joy for hours when shadows press near. The paths are lined with flowers carrying the scent of heaven, each one grown from moments where you chose God over your own comfort. But even now, beloved, the moment is fragile. Blessings such as this exist within appointed times. If the appointed time passes, the design shifts, the doors close, and what could have been in this form will not return again. I do not say this to burden you, but to awaken you to the truth of the hour. This is not about worthiness in the eyes of the world. It is about readiness in the eyes of heaven. And heaven says, you are ready now. The courts above have been filled with your name in recent days. Your name has been spoken with weight, with honor, with a reverence given to one who has endured and remained faithful. I have stood there as it was announced. I have seen the light move differently when it was spoken. I have seen angels lower their gaze in respect for the cost you have paid to stand where you are now. And yet, there is one thing more you must know. The enemy is watching even this moment. He will whisper reasons to delay, excuses to turn away, distractions to make you think this is not as urgent as it feels. But I have been sent to cut through every one of those lies with the truth. This is the hour. This is the threshold. You do not need to be perfect to receive it. You need only to step forward. Beloved, I have carried many things for many souls. But this has been the most guarded, the most fought for, the most dangerous to deliver. I can feel the shift in the realm around us. Even now the air grows warmer, the light deepens, and the chains that once held back your destiny are falling away, one by one. I know that when you take hold of what I bring, the sound of those chains breaking will echo across both heaven and hell. I have seen the life that will unfold within these walls. I have seen mornings filled with unshakable peace, nights where you sleep without fear, days where laughter fills the rooms like sunlight. I have seen moments when you will pray here, and the answers will come swiftly, for this place will rest under an open heaven. I have seen the way it will stand as a beacon to others, proof that the God who called you is faithful to complete what he began. Beloved, there is a heaviness in this moment, not the weight of despair, but the dense holy presence that comes when eternity leans close to earth. The fire around me shifts and folds back, not because it has lessened in its fury, but because it recognizes the command of the one who sent me. This pathway must open. My steps are steady now. Each one brings me closer to you. Each one presses through the thin veil between where I stand and where you wait. I have carried this through storms that screamed your name in malice, through valleys where even light dared not wander, through nights where the air itself was sharp with the scent of the enemy's hunger for your downfall. There is no part of me untouched by this journey. My armor bears the dents of weapons meant to pierce my defense of your promise. My wings bear the scars of claws from shadows that sought to tear the gift from my grasp. My voice has been worn from speaking your name in the courts of heaven while others slept. And still, I am here, still holding what was always meant to be yours. I have seen the way the enemy tried to weave delay into your life. Every sudden obstacle, every moment when hope seemed foolish, every time your path was obscured, all of it was his design to make you believe this day would never come. He thought if he could convince you it was too far, too impossible, too undeserved, then you would not recognize it when it arrived. But I knew you would. I have known all along that you would hear the truth in my voice, even through the thickest veil. Beloved, this house, this dwelling, is not simply a structure of walls and roof. It is a sanctuary where heaven and earth meet, designed for your rest and your rising. The stones themselves carry the warmth of his hand. The beams hum with songs of protection. The floors are laid with the prayers of those who came before you, those who prayed for blessings they never saw, but whose seed has matured in your life. Every detail holds meaning. The garden is Eden, restored in miniature for you. The windows are the eyes of heaven watching over you. The door itself is the very picture of Psalm 121. Your going out and your coming in will be blessed, from this time forth and forevermore. I have walked through its rooms in the Spirit. There is one space where the ceiling opens like a great canopy, and light pours in unbroken, falling over a place prepared for your worship. The air there is thick with a peace that silences every lie you were ever told about your worth. Another room holds shelves and tables waiting for the work of your hands, the dreams you have carried but thought would never find a home. Every corner was made with your life in mind. Every color chosen to soothe the parts of you that have known too much storm. But it is more than comfort. It is a fortress, not of cold stone, but of living covenant. The enemy will see its walls and know he cannot pass without confronting the one who gave it. I have walked its perimeter in the unseen realm, placing marks of light at every border, so that no curse, no shadow, no wandering spirit can cross without being consumed. This is the kind of place where you will heal from wounds you thought would never close, where you will find strength for callings you have not yet stepped into, where the whisper of God will be as clear as the sound of your own heartbeat. And I will tell you the truth you were not ready to hear before. You could not have carried this blessing then, not because you were unworthy, but because its weight would have crushed you if given too soon. Blessings carry responsibility, and this one was too great for a heart still mending. The time you thought was delay was, in truth, preparation. Every disappointment, every closed door, every detail. These were the shaping tools in the hand of the potter, making sure that when you received this you could carry it without fear and hold it without letting it slip away. Now, the appointed hour is here. The unseen clock in the courts of heaven has struck the moment where your name aligns with the decree written over this gift. I can feel the ground shift beneath me, the earth itself responding to what is about to happen. The enemy feels it too. He is restless, pacing at the edges, hoping for a crack in your faith, hoping for one reason to argue for delay. But there is no delay left. The moment has been sealed, beloved. I see beyond this very hour into the days that will follow. I see you stepping through the threshold, and the very air changing as you cross it. I see the heaviness you carried fall from your shoulders like chains breaking. I see your eyes widen when you realize this is not a dream, not a vision, but a living reality. I see the first night you sleep within its walls, and even the silence will feel like a song written only for you. And hear me now. My watch will not end when you enter. The same hand that commanded me to guard this until you received it has also commanded me to guard you within it. I will walk its halls in the unseen. I will stand at its corners in the night. I will shield its windows from all that would gaze in with malice. For this is not simply about giving you a gift. It is about ensuring the gift remains untouched by the hand of the thief. The silence between us now is holy. It is not the pause of uncertainty. It is the stillness before the final step. I am here, holding out what was always yours, knowing that the moment you take it, your yes will ring through heaven and shake the last strongholds that dared to stand against you. And when that happens, beloved, You will not just walk into a house. You will walk into the fulfillment of years of unseen battles. You will walk into the answers to prayers that have waited in the storehouses of heaven. You will walk into the chapter of your story the enemy swore would never be written. Beloved, the air is alive with a current not of this world. It moves through me like the deep breath of eternity itself, carrying both the ache of all that has been endured and the glory of what is about to be revealed. Even the fire that has clung to me for so long now draws back, as though some greater flame fills the space. My steps are no longer hindered. The chains that once coiled around my ankles have fallen, hissing into nothing. I am closer to you than I have ever been, and the gift I carry is as real in my hands as your heartbeat is within you. I have guarded this with a vigilance that has left my spirit scarred, yet unbroken. It has been hidden away in a chamber of light where no shadow could reach. Around that chamber I walked endlessly, circling, shielding, sword drawn, because there were always those who desired to take what was not theirs. The enemy does not covet merely to possess. He covets to destroy, to scatter the pieces of what should have been whole, to convince the receiver it was never meant for them. But I did not let him. Not one grain of dust that belongs to this promise was touched. You may think of this as a house, but I tell you again, it is more. It is a threshold between what has been and what will be. Every doorway within it is a gate into rest. Every wall is a shield, not only against the storms outside, but against the storms that once raged in your mind. The windows were made to flood the rooms with healing light. Even the roof, its very covering, was spoken into existence as a sign that you will be sheltered from what once tore you apart. I have seen the way the floors will carry the sound of your steps, and how that sound will change. At first, it will be the slow, careful tread of one still learning to believe they are safe. But with time, those steps will grow lighter, quicker, until they become the confident stride of one who knows, I belong here. And in the evenings, when shadows lengthen outside but cannot cross your threshold, I have seen the peace that will wrap around you. The kind of peace that seeps into every thought, until fear has no place left to rest. The garden will be your place of renewal. Every leaf will move in harmony with the unseen wind of heaven's breath. At its center stands a tree, taller than the rest, its branches heavy with fruit that never spoils. Its fruit will be for your joy, but its roots will remind you of this truth. What grows deep and unseen is what gives life to what stands in the light. Every flower will tell the story of a moment you chose faith over despair. Every path will lead you back to the center, for this gift is not only to be lived in, but to draw you closer to the one who gave it. Beloved, do you remember the nights you wondered if God still remembered your name? Those nights were not empty. They were recorded. They were answered in the very design of this dwelling. The colors on its walls will speak to the places in your heart that have been without beauty for too long. The air will hold a stillness that silences the voices that once accused you. And when you wake each morning within it, the first light that meets your eyes will be your reminder. You are here. You made it through. But I must tell you the truth of what it took to bring this to you. There were valleys so thick with darkness I could not see the path, only feel it beneath my feet by the pull of heaven's command. There were winds of accusation that tried to strip me of your promise, voices hissing lies about your worth, hoping I would believe them and turn away. There were moments the weight of guarding this was so great I thought my strength might fail, and each time, the memory of your name spoken in the throne room gave me strength to rise again. Your name is not just written on this promise, it is woven into it. If another tried to take it, it would wither in their hands. It lives because it is bound to your destiny. And your destiny is no accident. It has been shaped through fire, through trial, through seasons where you thought you were standing still, yet in truth you were being refined. This is why the moment has come now, and not before. You were not only meant to receive it, you were meant to receive it prepared, strengthened, unshakable from the path you have walked. I have seen what will happen when you step across the threshold. It will not only be a change of surroundings, it will be a change of atmosphere in your very soul. The heaviness on your shoulders will fall away, and in its place peace so deep it will take time to realize it is real. You will find rest not only in your body, but in your thoughts, in your heart, in your spirit. And from that rest will rise a strength you have not yet imagined. This place will not simply be where you live. It will be where you are restored, where new visions are born, where old wounds close, where joy becomes your constant companion. And every time the enemy dares to look toward it, he will see not only its walls and gates, but the very hand of God stretched over it. Beloved, I have reached the final distance. I stand before you now. The gift rests between us, alive with the light it was created in. My mission is nearly complete. When I place this in your hands, it will no longer be guarded only by me. It will be guarded by the covenant that binds it to you, and I will remain near, unseen but steadfast, ensuring that no shadow crosses the boundary of what you have been given. Beloved, the ground beneath my feet hums with the weight of all that has been endured to bring this moment to life. I feel the pulse of ages beneath the soil, as though every step that brought you here echoes upward through time, to meet me where I stand. The fire that once clawed at my path now circles at a distance, its fury contained by a greater hand. The shadows that followed have fallen back, their whispers silenced, and still, I hold what was always yours, its light steady in my grasp, untouched by the storms that were survived. This gift was not shaped in haste. It was formed in the quiet before, your first breath, when heaven's breath moved over the deep, and the thought of you brought light into being. It has waited through the rise and fall of years, its foundation strengthened by your endurance, its beauty refined by the choices you made when no one saw. You have walked through seasons that felt like endings, but each one was a chiseling, a shaping, a preparing. And now, when I look at you through the veil, I see that you are ready. I have seen what this place will mean to you. It is not merely a shelter from rain or wind. It is a sanctuary where your spirit will breathe without fear. There is a room where the air will feel different, as if the very walls know the sound of your prayers. The floors are smooth from the countless times you will walk them in peace. The colors have been chosen to rest your eyes from the strain of long battles, to remind you that beauty still belongs to you. Outside, the garden waits like a living promise. The soil is rich, dark, alive. It has been fed by the remnants of every trial you endured. What was once lost has been sown here as seed, and the blooms that rise from it will be unlike anything the earth has ever known. At its heart is a fountain whose waters never run dry. I have stood by it and felt the way it speaks, not with words, but with constancy, the sound of something that will never leave you again. The enemy will see this place and understand what it means. He will know that what was meant to break you has become the cornerstone of your joy. That is why the path here was so heavily guarded, why the attacks against you in recent seasons were sharper, more cunning. He was trying to exhaust you before you could reach the gates. But you endured. Even in the moments when you thought you were failing, your spirit held to the thread of light. And that was enough to keep this day written into the scrolls of heaven. Do not think the battles were easy. There were hours when I stood in front of this promise with my sword raised, surrounded on all sides, and every strike I made felt like it would be my last. There were nights when the air grew cold with malice, when curses were spoken in the hope they would seep into its foundations. But they did not. Every curse turned to ash before it could touch what God declared was yours. Every shadow was driven back by the light that lives in this covenant. Beloved, I know your journey has left marks on you. I have seen the weariness in your steps, the way your heart sometimes wonders if the struggle will ever truly end. But I have also seen the steel that was formed in you, the quiet strength that no one can take. That strength is why you stand here now, why I can place this into your hands without fear that you will let it go. When you enter this place, something will change in you. It will not just be relief, it will be recognition. You will realize that you have arrived at a place you carried in your spirit for years without knowing its shape. The peace may be unfamiliar at first, like a song you half remember, but it will settle over you until it becomes the very air you breathe. And as it does, your vision will clear. You will begin to see the paths ahead with a clarity that has long been hidden from you. This gift is not the end of your story. It is the ground from which the next chapter will rise. From here, the work of your life will grow in ways you could not have imagined while you were still wandering. From here, you will give from a place of abundance, speak from a place of healing, and walk from a place of strength, and I will remain near. The same command that sent me to guard this blessing compels me to guard you within it. I will stand at the edges of its light, watching for the first sign of threat, ready to meet it before it reaches your door. This place is holy because of the one who gave it, and because of the journey you took to arrive here. Nothing unclean will set foot upon it without facing the fire that stands between you and harm. And as I place it before you now, I feel the weight lift from my hands. It does not grow lighter because it is less. It grows lighter because it is home. It knows it has reached the one for whom it was made. And you, beloved, have reached the moment for which you were made. Even as I stand here, I feel the air parting in a way I have only felt at the closing of the greatest battles. The heat of the fire no longer presses against my skin. It lingers behind me like a shadow that knows it has been defeated. The ground beneath us has shifted. I can sense the lines of resistance breaking, the last of the barriers crumbling to dust. And now, the light that covers what I carry for you is so pure, so untouchable, that nothing in the realms of darkness dares to reach for it. What I hold has not been weakened by the wars fought over it. It has been strengthened. The hands that tried to claw it away have only proven its resilience. It was tested in the coldest nights of heaven's waiting chambers and found unshakable. I have touched its walls, and they are warm, not from any earthly fire, but from the breath of God that brought them into being. The rooms within hum with quiet power, a stillness that is not emptiness, but presence. The kind of presence that settles over the soul until the heart remembers what peace feels like. I have walked into the place where you will rest. I have stood at the foot of a bed prepared for you, covered in light like a mantle. When you lie there, the weight that has pressed on your chest for so long will lift. The shadows that used to follow you into the night will find no entrance. The very air in that room is guarded. It will not allow fear to dwell there. It will be your place of renewal, where the strength you thought was gone returns quietly, breath by breath. And in another room, I saw a table large enough for gathering, not only with those you know now, but with those heaven will bring into your life in the seasons ahead. I saw the light on their faces, the joy in voices unstrained by worry. Conversations will rise like songs, and they will linger in the walls as a memory of fellowship and safety that will never fade. There is also a space for your prayers, beloved. It has been made ready, not by human hands, but by the Spirit who knows your voice. The moment you enter it, you will feel as though you have stepped into a place outside of time. The ceiling seems higher than the rest, and the light that enters does not come only from the sun. The air is rich with the fragrance of every prayer you prayed in your wilderness seasons, each one having risen to heaven and returned now as part of this sanctuary. Outside, the land embraces the dwelling like arms that have waited to hold something precious. The paths are lined with blooms that respond to your presence, opening wider as you pass. There are places to sit where you will see the sky spread wide above you without obstruction, where the quiet will be so complete, you will hear the rhythm of your own heartbeat as though it were part of the earth's song. Do you understand what this is, beloved? This is more than rest after battle. It is restoration. It is vindication. It is the outward sign that the enemy's accusations have failed, that the storms did not carry you away, that every attempt to diminish you has instead prepared you for something greater than you imagined. The battles for this were not only fought on my side, you fought them too. Each time you chose to rise when it would have been easier to stay down, you drove a stake deeper into the ground of this promise. Each time you refused to let bitterness take root, the walls here rose higher. Every word of faith you spoke became a shield over its gates. Whether you knew it or not, you have been building this with your obedience, your perseverance, and your trust that I will not lie to you. There were moments I thought the weight of guarding this might break me. When the enemy's forces pressed in, when their cunning threatened to find a way through, I fought with all I had. There were nights when the darkness was so thick I could not see my own sword, but I still struck into it, guided only by the knowledge that you were on the other side of this, waiting. And each time I felt my strength falter, I remembered your name spoken in the throne room, and it became my armor. Now, the time for guarding is almost over. Soon my task will change, from protecting it in the unseen to watching over it as it stands in your possession. The moment you step across its threshold, it will recognize you. It will know its keeper has come home. The walls will settle around you, not as a cage but as a covering. The light will adjust to your presence, warming every corner. The peace that has been stored within it will pour out into you until every part of you feels the truth. You have arrived, and you are safe in this place. Beloved, you will rise into what comes next. This is not an ending. This is the solid ground from which the next steps of your calling will take shape. Here you will dream without fear of interruption. Here you will heal without the pressure of time. Here you will see clearly the paths ahead because you will finally be free from the fog of survival. And I will be here still. I will stand where the seen and unseen meet, at the edge of your dwelling's light, to face whatever would dare approach. For this promise was not given lightly, and it will not be surrendered. You have crossed too much wilderness, endured too much fire, to ever lose again what has now been placed in your hands. Beloved, hear me now, for I am speaking from the edge of all that has been promised and all that has been fought for. The air here is alive with the final weight of this journey. It has taken every breath, every strike of the sword, every ounce of light in me, to carry what I hold for you across the storms that were sent to devour it. The fire that once clung to my wings is dimmed, not because its fury was less, but because it could no longer touch what heaven had sealed for you. The shadows that prowled after us have scattered into the deep places where the light does not follow them. And now I stand before you, trembling, not from fear, but from the sheer magnitude of what happens next. What I bring to you now was not built overnight. It was not made in haste, nor from scraps. It was spoken into existence by the breath of God Himself. Before you ever walked this earth, this dwelling, this covenant was set aside with your name written into its foundation. I have walked through its halls in the unseen, feeling the way each step seems to pulse with the truth that it belongs to you, and to you alone. The walls themselves seem to listen, waiting for your voice to echo through them. I have seen the room where you will sleep, and I tell you now, the peace there is unlike anything you have known. The air will settle over you as a mantle, heavy with rest yet light as grace. The nightmares that once followed you into the dark will find no door here. The weight you have carried on your chest will lift, leaving only the steady rise and fall of breath that belongs to the unafraid. I have seen the table where you will gather, surrounded by voices untainted by bitterness, faces warmed by joy. The laughter in that room will be deep and healing, and it will linger even after the room grows quiet. The walls will remember it, holding the sound in their hidden places, so that joy becomes part of the very structure. I have seen the place where you will pray. It is not just a room, it is a gateway. The moment you enter, time will seem to stand still. The light there is different. It does not bend or fade. The ceiling lifts higher than the rest, as though heaven itself leans closer. When you speak, every word you pray will rise unimpeded, for the air is clear of all hindrance. And in that place, answers will come, not always as you expect, but always in the perfection of His will. Beyond the walls, the garden is alive in a way that is almost sentient. It breathes with you. Every flower blooms in response to your nearness. The grass bends, not from the wind, but in recognition of your steps. At the center stands a tree whose roots are deeper than time, roots nourished by your perseverance, your tears, your faith when it was stretched to breaking. Its fruit is not merely to feed the body, but to restore the spirit. To eat from it is to taste the goodness of God in a way you have never known before. This place is more than shelter, beloved. It is proof. Proof that the accusations against you have failed. Proof that the storms that sought to break you only carved out the space for something greater to take root. Proof that every moment you chose light over darkness, hope over despair, you were building something you could not yet see. But I tell you now, the enemy knew this day would come. That is why the attacks against you grew sharper in recent seasons. He was not trying to wound you without reason. He was trying to exhaust you before you could reach this threshold. Every delay, every sudden loss, every whisper of, "It will never happen," was part of his last attempt to keep you from what I now hold in my hands, and yet, here we are. You are still standing, and the gift is still whole. You may think this is the end of the journey, but I tell you it is the beginning. From this ground, new paths will open. Paths you could not have walked without the rest and restoration this place gives you. Here you will heal without fear of the next wound. Here you will dream without the weight of dread. Here you will build without watching for the thief. Beloved, when you step into this dwelling, you will not only live within its walls, you will be transformed by them. The light will seep into you until every shadow that once clung to you is gone. The silence will wash over you until the noise of past battles fades to nothing. And in that stillness, you will hear more clearly than ever the voice of the one who has been with you through it all. I will remain near. My watch will not end because you have received this. I will walk the borders of this land in the unseen, ensuring that no shadow crosses into the peace you have been given. I will stand at the gates in the night, my sword ready, not in weariness but in joy. Joy that I can guard you, not in the wilderness, but in the place of promise. And now I tell you, with every ounce of truth I can bear into this moment, this is the door heaven wrote for you. This is the gate you were meant to cross. And when you do, the sound of it will shake the realms. Angels will rejoice. The enemy will fall silent. And your heart will finally know without question that you are home. So hear me, beloved. If your spirit knows these words are for you, mark this moment in faith. Let it be seen in the heavens that you have heard, that you agree, that you step forward without fear, so the angels assigned to you may bear witness. Comment Amen, not as ritual, but as the seal of your agreement in the courts above. Subscribe, not for my sake, but so that the words of heaven will continue to find you when the noise of the world tries to drown them out. Beloved, as I place this before you, I feel the weight in my hands dissolve into light. It is no longer something I must guard. It is something you can now carry, something that will wrap itself around your life like the first warmth after a long winter. Every battle, every tear, every silent night has brought you here. And here is not a place of fear, it is a place of fullness. Walk forward knowing you are not stepping into uncertainty, but into a promise that was shaped for you before time began. Let your first breath within it be a breath of gratitude, and let your first word be one that heaven will echo. Amen. For from this day onward, beloved, your story is not the same. You are home. You are covered. You are loved beyond measure.